Okay, here I am in my van, all packed and loaded after today's session, today's gig. Well, it's fresh on my mind. I really wanted to just talk about something here. Afterwards, I'm out of breath. Sorry. Afterwards, I usually have a little time for people to have questions or thoughts, things like that. And this is why you got to do your homework. This is why I tell all my students, tell everybody, get outside, get in nature, soak up those sounds, put them in here so you can release them later. So this woman said, were you making bird sounds? I could hear birds going back and forth in front of me. And then she said something like that, and then I heard them landing in the water and all this. And it's like, it's funny because today I wasn't consciously doing birds, but I have thousands of birds in here and bird sounds. So when I'm making the sounds, I'm still putting those type of things out there. And this goes back to perception and how everybody hears things differently. So she heard birds. And I asked if anybody else did, and only one other person raised their hand, and that was the woman sitting next to her. And they were right in the front, right in front of my table. So positioning, I don't know, did that have something to do with it? But everybody has their own experience. Everybody identifies the sounds based on their past experiences, their memory and that. So, but this proves a point. I've got all these bird sounds in me. And when I play things, I'm trying to release bird and wind and rain and water and, all these sort of sounds, crunchy leaves, wind in the trees, all those types of nature sounds that I have heard and taken in from walking in the park, from just being outside. So do that. Get out in your environment. City, country, in between, factories. Take in all the sounds. Make them a part of you, and thus a part of your panoply of sounds, your arsenal, however you want to describe it, part of everything that you put out to people. Okay, thanks. Here we are, next morning from my after gig comment. I'd like to talk about it a little more. I recorded my session, as I always do, and now I've had a chance to listen to the comment section at the end, and I have that woman's comment. I was kind of paraphrasing it yesterday from memory, but now I've got her exact comment here. And she said, I heard the sound of birds flying by, and I do remember her doing a motion like this. I heard the sound of birds flying by. Intentional? I thought I was sitting by a pond. There were all these birds, and they were in the water. And that's her comment. Interesting. No, I wasn't intentionally making bird sounds yesterday. But like I said, I've got all these bird sounds in here. So when I play, I'm letting all these different sounds out. And sometimes I will have an intentional sound. I'll be thinking maybe water or air or something, and I'll have intentions. And I'll put that out there with the sound. But, this is real important, I realize people will interpret the sound their own way. They will hear what they hear. and will be based on their memories, their personal experiences, their life lived, and they will hear what it is to them. So this woman and her friend sitting next to her, right in front of my table, lying there, they heard birds flying by. I'm not going to say no, and I think it's fine, and it's great, because I try to make a lot of these natural sounds. So they heard birds, and I asked people, raise your hand if you heard birds, and I think one other person kind of in the back put their hand up. Now, if I'd have been intentionally doing birds and these 3 people heard birds, and then there's a whole room of other people who didn't hear birds, it's like, oh, is there something wrong here? Did I do something wrong because they didn't all hear birds? No. Again, people hear the sounds and they interpret them their own way. So I make the sounds. That's all I do. I try to put no judgment on the sounds. I make them and I send them out, and I let people interpret them however they want and do whatever they want with them. From my personal experience and how I work over all these years, and it might be different for you, I have found everything to be fluid. I found the universe is fluid. And the minute I try to make something solid, make something static, and say this is this and this is the way it is, it's not. Not everybody gets it. So again, I could have been like thinking here, and I'm making bird sounds with my rattles, and I'm making these bird sounds, and maybe nobody heard bird sounds. I'm making heart chakra sounds, and maybe only a couple people feel heart chakra, and other people feel different chakras or no chakras at all. There are a few exceptions. The big one is the ocean drum, and I'll talk about an experience yesterday with that. You can't help it. I mean, you play an ocean drum, and it's like, it sounds like waves, it sounds like surf, it sounds like the ocean. Okay, that instrument you can't help but have people go, oh, what did you use to make that? I heard ocean, I heard waves, Although I've had people interpret the ocean drum as different sounds. As one woman heard bees buzzing, I've heard people say like thunderstorm and things like that, not necessarily ocean. So again, I could be playing an ocean drum and be thinking and intending ocean, surf, waves, and all that, and people will hear something else. So don't get too stuck on your sounds and on your intentions. Don't get too hung up on that. Just release your sounds and let people do with them what they want. Ocean drum. I almost always play the ocean drum in my sessions because I have a beautiful ThetaDrum from Italy. It's just like, it's the best ocean drum out there. And people love it. People just love the sound of it. I didn't play it yesterday. I wasn't feeling it. It didn't call out to me. I was feeling air and earth sounds a lot yesterday, very much so. I played the water circle for a little bit, which is kind of like a circular rain stick, and I played that a little bit. Otherwise, I was really more air and earth sounds, and I didn't play the ocean drum. And after the session, a woman said to me, "You didn't play your ocean drum." And she'd seen me in this place probably 2-3 times before when I played the ocean drum. So she was a little disappointed because I didn't play it. And she said, "Oh, and I brought my friend here. It was her first time." And I was telling her all about your ocean drum, but you didn't play it. Sorry. Sorry you were disappointed that I didn't. Well, what can I do? I was in the moment. I'm always in that moment because that's all there is the now. And I try to work from the now. When I'm up there playing, I'm not thinking about, oh, what did I have for breakfast? Oh, that was a great breakfast, No, or I'm not thinking about the drive to the venue or packing or setting up or anything. I'm also not thinking about afterwards, like, oh, I have to drive home, or I usually go get food afterwards because I'm hungry. And in the case of yesterday, it was an hour and a half drive either way. So I had a long drive to get home. I wasn't thinking, oh, where should I go eat? Should I get pizza? Should I get tacos? What should I do? No, I'm thinking about my sounds. I'm playing my sounds. I'm listening to my sounds. I'm opening up and just letting sounds out. I'm releasing them to the people. And I'm letting them do what they want with them, interpreting them however they want. That's all I can do. I can't have any control. Once those sounds are out of my body and released through the instruments, I have no control. Other than maybe the ocean drum. But again, some people hear different things. Be open. Be in the moment. You got to be present. You have to be in the now. Work from the now. Be fluid, too. I was playing. I started out with small bells. I moved to the Burma bells, a little deeper sound, spinny sound, and I went to the big wind gong. It's going to be kind of a transition to something else. Well, I heard a sound on the wind gong that intrigued me, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I ended up playing the wind gong for I think 15 minutes. I was going to go somewhere else, and I ended up staying on the wind gong because it called out. It said, wait a minute, don't leave so fast. It was interesting. I just follow my sounds. That's all I can do. And it's interesting, too, is I'm listening. I'm so focused on listening. Even though my eyes are open, I'm not always seeing. I'm seeing the sounds in my head. I'm seeing what's up here. But I'm not seeing, and I noticed that yesterday because I snapped out of it, and I was like, oh, what am I looking at? I didn't, because I'm moving around my setup. And I'm seeing unconsciously on an unconscious level, but I'm not actively seeing because I'm seeing the sounds in my head. I'm visual, and that's what I do. And so, and often I'll have my eyes closed anyway. And, I'm playing. I don't have to see the instruments necessarily. So I'm playing that way. But when I have my eyes open, I'm looking, but I'm not always seeing, if that makes sense. Just an interesting little thing. So anyway, be open, be flexible, be present, be in the moment, okay? And just put your sounds out there and let people take them however they want. Okay. Well, thanks for coming to my Cuppa Talk, and we'll see you next time. Okay.